Good day, everyone. This morning, we will hop on a journey through time to explore the artistic expressions of our ancestors. Art has always been an integral part of human history, and studying the artistic achievements of ancient civilizations allow us to gain insights into their cultures, beliefs, and ways of life. Throughout this presentation, we will dig into various forms of ancient art such as cave paintings, visual arts, architecture, as well as song or opera present in cave art, in Egypt, and in Greece. Moving on, let's talk about the arts of ancient Egypt. These arts was produced between the 6th millennium BC and the 4th century AD. They are more on conservative tradition whose style changed very little over time. Art in Egypt was created with special purpose. It was believed that through their art, they could keep everything in the world in balance and ensure that people could have eternal life even after death. Art played a central role in their society, that they believed that art, particularly in form of statues and murals, have the power to transcend time and communicate with the divine. Their art served religious and funerary and political purposes. From the grandeur of the pyramids of the intrinsically detailed tomb paintings, Egyptian art showcased their belief in the afterlife, their pharaohs divining statues, and their reverence for God and goddesses. Artists of Egyptian arts cannot easily tracked, so we only selected top 3 founders and discoverers. First, we have Thutmose in 1345 BC, Howard Carter in 1925, and William Matthew Flinders Petrie in 1903. So now we have the Nefertiti bust. It is a sculptured stucco-coated limestone bust of Nefertiti produced by Thutmose in 1345 BC. Nefertiti was a great royal wife of the Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten, and this is also regarded as one of the most copied works on ancient Egypt. Next, we have Tutankhamun's mask. It is an ancient death mask produced in 18th century. It was discovered by Howard Carter in 1925 and is also regarded as one of the most famous Egyptian artworks and almost admired and well-known works of art around the world. In this time, gold was more easily obtainable in ancient Egypt than silver, and was therefore less valuable until the late New Kingdom. Gold was easier to work and unaffected by environmental conditions. In consequences, many more gold than silver objects have survived. Gold are also used in decorative purposes as a thin sheet, leaf, and inlay in funerary equipment and for vessels and furniture. The range of uses is best exemplified in the objects from the tomb of Tutankhamun's mask. Then we have the Khufu statuette. It is an ancient Egyptian statue which founded by William Matthew Flinders in 1903. It was discovered in the temple of Khentian-Menchu in Abydos in Upper Egypt. It is a 3-dimensional depiction of Khufu, which is a second king of 4th dynasty and builder of Great Pyramid of Giza. Now we have some Egyptian visual arts. First, we have the seated scribe. It is a sculpture discovered in 1850, known by the name Squatting Scribe. It is a limestone sculpture depicts a man in a sitting position. It can be viewed at the Louvre Museum in Paris. Next, we have the Narmer palette in 31st century BC. So in early dynastic period, cosmetic palettes reached a new level of sophistication during this period, in which the Egyptian writing system also experienced further development. It is composed of primarily of a few symbols denoting amounts of various substances. Then we have the black statue. It is a memorial statue discovered in the Middle Kingdom of ancient Egypt. In this statue, it is generally assumed that a guardian is seated in the gateway of a temple. Now, let's explore some Egyptian architecture. First, we have Great Sphinx of Giza. It is a limestone statue of reclining sphinx. It depicts mythical creature with the body of it similar to that lion and the head similar to human head. Next, we have the Great Temple of Ramesses. It is the most remarkable monument of Ramesses II at Abu Simbel, Egypt. It was built by Ramesses II, where he wished to demonstrate his power and his divine nature. It follows generally the plan of the usual Egyptian temple, with colossal seated statues emerging from the facade, which is cliff-faced, a pillared hall followed by a second leading to a vestibule, and a shrine with 4 statues of divinities, including one of Ramses himself. Next, we have the Great Temple of Amun. It is a hypostyle hall at Karnak, Egypt. Lastly, we have music in Egypt. Egyptian folk music, including traditional Sufi, scare, rituals, are the closest contemporary music genre to ancient Egyptian music, having preserved many of its features, rhythms, and instruments. Egyptian music has been an integral part of Egyptian culture since ancient times. The ancient Egyptian credited the god Thoth with the invention of music. So we have here musicians of Amun, a tomb of Nakht in 18th dynasty in western Thebes. For Egyptians, the decorations of tomb walls with relief or painted scenes provided some certainty of the perpetuation of life in a temple. Similarly, it was believed that mural decorations magically ensured the performance of important ceremonies and reinforced the memory of royal deeds. So indeed, art in ancient Egypt was deeply intertwined with their religious belief and rituals. It played a vital role in the worship of their gods and the immortalization of their pharaohs. From the construction of temples to the creation of funerary objects, art was a means of connecting the earthly realm with the divine, ensuring eternal life and spiritual harmony.
Cave art. The term cave art, sometimes referred to as parietal art, describes ancient paintings, sketches, and engravings that have been discovered on the walls and ceilings of caves. These works are mostly from the Upper Paleolithic era, which occurred between 50,000 to 40,000 years ago. Famous examples of these artworks may be seen in Altamira, a cave in Spain, and Lascaux, a cave in France. They are among the earliest known forms of human expression and are frequently discovered in Europe. Animals like horses, bison, and deer are frequently shown in cave paintings, along with handprints left by humans and abstract symbols. Although the exact meaning of this artwork is still unknown, it is believed to have served a ceremonial, symbolic, or communicational function that may have been connected to social cohesiveness, hunting, or spirituality in prehistoric societies. Cave art was most likely created with natural colors like as ochre, charcoal, and hematite, and the artist may have utilized instruments such as animal hair brushes or even blowing pigment through hollow bones to produce stenciled pictures. Cave art is significant because it reveals essential details about early humans' lives, beliefs, and habitats. It exemplifies some of the earliest forms of human invention and communication, reflecting our predecessors' cognitive and cultural evolution. The artwork also has archaeological significance as it aids scholars in understanding human evolution, migration patterns, and social relationships. Cave art also indicates prehistoric people's high artistic skills and may have held spiritual or ritualistic importance within their communities. Cave art remains relevant because it provides a direct link to our past, enriches our understanding of human history, influences modern culture, and continues to be a subject of scientific and artistic interest.
Ancient Greek. Ancient Greek art stands out among that of other ancient cultures for its development of naturalistic but idealized depictions of the human body, in which largely nude male figures were generally the focus of innovation. The rate of stylistic development between about 750 and 300 BC was remarkable by ancient standards, and in surviving works is best seen in sculpture. In ancient Greece, there were famous artists who has a big impact in the Greek art. We put 3 artists who were famous in their artworks, and they are Phidias, Praxiteles, and Zeuxis. So first, let's tackle about Phidias. Phidias was an ancient Greek sculptor, painter, and architect active in the 5th century BC. His statue of Zeus at Olympia was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. He was the ruler of Athens, chief artist from 460 to 429 BCE. He is known to have created some of the most important religious images for Athens during the High Classical period. His works of art established the general conception of Zeus and Athena's appearances. And these are some famous artworks of Phidias. The Chrysophansin. The Chrysophansin statues is a sculpture made with gold and ivory. Chrysophansin statues were built around a wooden frame with thin carved slabs of ivory attached, representing the flesh, and sheets of gold leaf representing the garments, armor, hair, and other details. Next artist is Praxiteles. Praxiteles of Athens, the son of Siphisodotus the Elder, was the most renowned of the Attic sculptors of the 4th century BC. He was the first to sculpt the nude female form in a life-size statue. He was the greatest of the Attic sculptors of the 4th century BCE and one of the most original of Greek artists. By transforming the detached and majestic style of his immediate predecessors into one of gentle grace and sensuous charm, he profoundly influenced the subsequent course of Greek sculpture. Here are some artworks of Praxiteles, and these are Hermes carrying the infant Dionysus. This artwork is an ancient Greek sculpture of Hermes and the infant Dionysus discovered in 1877 in the ruins of the Temple of Hera, Olympia in Greece. It is displayed at the Archaeological Museum of Olympia. It is traditionally attributed to Praxiteles and dated to the 4th century BC, based on a remark by the 2nd century Greek traveler Pausanias, and has made a major contribution to the definition of Praxitelean style. And the last artist is Zeuxis. Zeuxis was a late 5th century, early 4th century BCE Greek artist, famed for his ability to create images that appeared highly realistic. None of his works survive, but anecdotes about Zeuxis' art and life have been referenced often in the history and literature of art and in the art theory. Zeuxis was an innovative Greek painter. He was, in one ancient account, a pupil of Demophilus of Himera in Sicily. The interior modeling of Zeuxis' figures would appear strongly realistic as compared with the flat volumes of the older method. And these are some artworks of Zeuxis: the Helen, Zeus enthroned, the infant Hercules strangling the serpent. And now, let's tackle about the two famous Greek art, the architecture of classical Greece and the ancient Greek sculpture. First, let's tackle about some of the examples of architecture of classical Greece. First, architecture is the Parthenon. The Parthenon is a former temple in the Athenian Acropolis, Greece, that was dedicated to the goddess Athena. Its decorative sculptures are considered some of the high points of classical Greek art, and the Parthenon is considered an enduring symbol of ancient Greece, democracy, and Western civilization. The Parthenon is a resplendent marble temple built between 447 and 432 BC, during the height of the ancient Greek Empire. Dedicated to the Greek goddess Athena, the Parthenon sits high atop a compound of temples known as the Acropolis of Athens. Next is the Temple of Olympian Zeus in Athens, also known as Olympion. It was built over several centuries, starting in 174 BCE, and only finally completed by Roman Emperor Hadrian in 131 CE. It was one of the largest temples ever built in the ancient world, measuring 115 by 110 meters, and was dedicated to Zeus, the king of the gods in Greek mythology. And the last one is the Temple of Hera. The temple was erected around 590 BC. The Temple of Hera, or Heraion, is an ancient archaic Greek temple at Olympia, Greece, that was dedicated to Hera, queen of the Greek gods. It was the oldest temple at Olympia and one of the famous venerable in all Greece. And now, let's move to the famous Greek sculptures. First is the statue of Zeus in Olympia. The statue of Zeus at Olympia was a giant seated figure about 12.4 meters tall, made by the Greek sculptor Phidias around 435 BC at the sanctuary of Olympia, Greece, and erected in the temple of Zeus. Zeus is the sky and thunder god in ancient Greek religion, who rules as king of the gods of Mount Olympus. Next is the Laocoon and his sons. The statue of Laocoon and his sons, also called as Laocoon Group. The sculptor Laocoon and his sons' time period is the Hellenistic period. This means the sculpture was created between 323 BCE and 31 CE, though the exact date is unknown. It has been one of the most famous ancient sculptures since it was excavated in Rome in 1506 and put on public display in the Vatican Museum, where it remains today. Last is the Lady of the Auxerre. Lady of Auxerre at the Louvre Museum in Paris depicts an archaic Greek goddess of 650 to 625 BCE. It is a Chori, perhaps a votary rather than a maiden goddess, Persephone herself. For her right hand touches her solar plexus and her left remains stiffly at her side. It is also possible that the Chori is a depiction of a deceased individual, possibly in a position of prayer.